Greetings and salutations, friends. Character NPC here, your host, back for another stream. Getting ready to enter the town of Aratar. Actually, it's a small town. Town of Aratar. Bigger than Elfwine. Who knows where this is going, but at least we've made it to the halfway point for the collection of the golden receptacle of St. Cuthbert, the basin that's going to hold the holy water during the rituals. If you look at the Dungeon Master's Guide under magical research, you'll see what it takes to make holy water. And this golden basin is an upgrade from the Electrum that they had before. I forget what the next one down is, but this will about double the capacity for the Church of St. Cuthbert in Elfwine. And so, dear friends, if you remember last time, if you've been keeping up with the episodes, it's been 2 weeks. The journey's been 2 weeks from Elfwine to Aratar. We left Elfwine on the 7th and traveled through mud and heck and high water to get to Aratar finally. Actually, we spent the night outside of Aratar. We intended to enter, but things were slow and we weren't rushing it, and on that final night, Aetbert was on watch and spotted a lone orc out at the edge of the firelight, which escaped. And Asher Wildwood, the ranger, says straight out, man, we are being watched, possibly spied upon. So he thinks something is up between the ogre that attacked us just outside of town after we left here from Elfwine. Within the first 15 miles, we were attacked at night by an ogre. And fortunately, we dispatched him. But what would a lone ogre be doing so close to Elfwine? It just didn't make sense. And then along the way, after leaving during tropical storms, a couple storms delayed us for a little bit. That's a pretty bad omen in itself right there. Didn't even think about it until now. I wonder what the party's dreaming about tonight. Anyway, and then a gnoll escaped, a lone gnoll, also at midnight. And now this orc at midnight. I mean, it's just too much of a coincidence. So here we are finally arriving in Aratar. We don't know who we're supposed to meet, but someone here has a holy golden receptacle for us to take back with us to Elfwine, to Father Cuthbert. I started making an NPC list here. Father Calmert back in Elfwine is the one who basically sent us on this adventure. So, friends, that's where we begin the day. At the edge of town, we wake up, we had food and water. It was the last of it. So, this morning, the clerics, having not rested, still have one create water memorized from the previous day, or prepared, I should say, because it's a prayer thing. It's not memorized magic, but they got. Actually, you know what? They didn't get a full night's rest. So, since it's not memorized, and they didn't get a full night's rest, I'm going to say that we don't have that spell. I should be thinking about it in that way. It's in the moment versus prepared and ready from a previous day that a magic user might have capability of keeping in his mind until he casts it. So we're out of food and water at this point. We've eaten it. We ate and drank the last that we had on us. So that would put us, anyway, at the day's prayers and then the morning, and there'll be extra prayers said to by the clerics to St. Cuthbert in preparations for coming into possession of the holy receptacle. Okay, so the first thing we need to do then is, or the second thing we need to do is figure out our weather. We're still in cold even, so we started at a base of 42 with an 8 and a 10 cider. And we have 8 added, so we're at 50 for high. And for our low, we have 10 plus 4, 6, so 38. And sky conditions, 98. Sky conditions, it's cloudy. And precipitation, hopefully not. Excellent. Above 44%, no precipitation. And so we still in the on dry land, you might say. We've been plagued so much by rain, making it so muddy to get here. It's great that it's dry as we enter in the city, or the town. Yeah, small town. Don't know why I'm having such a hard time with it. It's a town. Come on. All right. So, I have our town here. And as I say, Aratar is a town versus Elfwine that's smaller, just a hamlet or village. And you can see where the river runs by here, which is this portion here. So it kind of runs a little bit like this, maybe. And the water comes around, and there's farmlands and things out here as well. So as we approach, it's less populated, you know, up ahead and around the corner of these little roadways. But the path all converges along the water and follows through, and we end up coming through here. We come through that's our way in. And as we approach, we see, like I said, some farms and pasture land, some cows grazing, sheep grazing out further out at a distance. And as we approach, we can hear the forge and anvils. Lots of clanging going on over here. This is where there's a well-established pair of forges, a mechanical hammer. They've got the beyond smelting abilities. They've got casting, and there's a large wooden, log post coming out that has a water wheel, out here. So they're utilizing the water and creating mechanical power from that. And we noticed pretty much right away, over here at 8 is all we see at the time. It's a Wainwright, but what we see at the time are some animals in the back here and some unfinished and damaged carts around. So I guess we probably guessed that it's a Wainwright. But anyway, this is a work yard here, and there's some animals in here as well as out front, out here, where we can't see on the map. What I was going to say is we see that this is a multicultural, very diverse. We start to see elves pretty much right away. We see dwarves and gnomes over here at the working in the forge and casting areas. And we take our time. People are checking us out. We're checking them out. We've got Jorbus Bicklemole with us, the gnome. He's been here before. He looks all happy and smiling. Also, Asher Wildwood. See, I get stuck with that Winwood. He's not Steve Winwood. He is Asher Wildwood. Anyway, Asher has been here once before as well. He made the trip, kind of as a ranger thing. So, yeah, multicultural, lots of different races here. Pretty much the whole gambit of first edition type races, where you have everything but half-orcs represented. There are no half-orcs here in Aratar. Maybe we'll run into some someday, but for the most part, we've never seen half-orcs before. But there's elves here, there's half-elves here. Excuse me, there's dwarves, there's gnomes, of course humans. Humans, there's probably 50-50 here, humans and demi-humans. So quite a big representation of demi-humans in Aratar versus Elfwine. And so as we continue to make our way past the forges and all of the metalworking, we come up to a large canopy covered area with more metalworking equipment, a couple of different anvils with smithies working the anvils and stuff, and general town type smithing versus what larger works were going on behind in the forges and casting and such. So there's a lot of major work going on here, and at the smithy it's more the day-to-day kind of smith work. And we can see up ahead that there is definitely what look to be churches, even though these are stone wall, kind of like river stone, like rock with mortar in between. Those walls with heavy wooden beams and things, like a medieval style town that you might dream of if you're in American movies. There's stone wall and wooden roofs, plenty of wood workings though in these buildings. But up ahead, these two buildings just look like churches at a distance anyway. They look, holy's not the right word, but I think you understand what I mean when I say they just have that look to them. So we can tell we're approaching some more church-like buildings, and there's a bunch of men standing around out front across the street at this other building, all dressed the same. They look like city guard, you know, type soldier type men all out here. There's probably a good, let's say 1 to 10. There's 7 military soldier like guys standing around out here. And so the next thing that we see is, as we get a little bit closer and these guys eye us and we check them out, Randall, our fighter, will, have that look on about him as a young fighter. Looking over the guys, looking at their equipment and everything, and admiring their gear, because they have definitely, wealthier gear. All decked out, a couple of them in plate mail, all looking more uniform with their, I forgot what those things are that you wear over the top of your armor that might have a symbol on them or something. But anyway, they're looking good. They're all looking sharp. But as we approach and, admire the scenery and things, what's going on in the town, we do see the symbol of the Church of St. Cuthbert over on this larger building, actually, over here. So we know where we are. Over on the other side, there's still, various buildings that look like they could be anything. They could be shops, they could be homes, nothing very distinct about them. Looking past these 2 buildings. This one, Asher already knows that this is a chapel. It's the chapel of Lemus, the Protector. And this I just found, just so, I'm fully transparent here. Lemus the Protector I found in an old dragon magazine that I have. I don't have very many, but the ones that I have, I'm always, finding things that are kind of cool in them that I think I'm going to use, even though they may not be relevant. This is a section from the one from September 79. I think it's the dragon number 29. It had Lemus the Protector listed here. I think this is gods getting involved in characters' lives or something like that. Oh, it's about curses. But anyway, if you read it, there's a reason why they have these gods listed here and everything. And Lemus the Protector, the god of animals, is what this is. And Lemus is like basically a super high level ranger, 20th level ranger with magical abilities and everything. It gives us statistics here. I'm guessing he's a god that walks the earth, kind of like thing. But Lemus appears as a large humanoid lion wearing a scarlet cloak and robes. In battle he fights with +3 claw bracers that can cut through any metal or 2 to 12 points of damage, or roar like a dragon for 4 to 40 points. He has the powers of rulership over all non-human mammalian creatures whom he has sworn to protect. So this god is sworn to protect non-human mammalian creatures. And is a ranger type. So in my world, what I decided to do so in my world, what I decided to do was to have this be the Chapel of Lemus. And because the elves are here and the humans are intermixed and intersprinkled in the forest here, see that we're right on the edge of this, big, dense forest section. It gets really dense over here. This is kind of a good place to have this animal protector deity set up. So there's 2 churches here, and because Lemus is a high-level ranger, this is going to also be a ranger kind of, ranger druid-like, not necessarily school, but training and things, those kinds of things are focused here a little more than they are in other places in the world, let's just say. I'm not making this some kind of super druid or ranger school or something like that, but anyway, I think you get my point. For now, all we need to know, less is more, is that it has ranger oriented and wilderness and animal type research and divinations and all kinds of different things. Okay, so as we approach, in that regards, Asher says to the party, I know someone here at the chapel. Maybe we can visit them later. I'd like to visit with Tracker Gilgly if he's available later. And the party, yeah. And having already seen, though, the Church of St. Cuthbert here for the town, we head on over there. And as usual, Aetbert Cuthman is somewhat at the head of the party, just because he has a purpose and is always striding and doing what it is that needs to be done in his mind. So we start heading into the chapel, and to the church, excuse me. The chapel is across the way here, is the smaller one. And we head on in and notice how big that building is. It is actually a really big building. And we see a sign that there is a library here as well. So quite a bit more substantial than the already substantial church in Elfwine of St. Cuthbert is. I mean, that's a stone building and everything. It's really big as well and very substantial. But it's more formidable substantial, and this is more knowledge substantial with the library there. So we head in, and we are met by Prefect Emil Burns, who is let's say, the cleric who would be doing work. And he greets us and says, yes, how can I help you? And Aetbert Cuthman says, we're here from Elfwine. Father Calmert sent us to collect the holy receptacle. And he said, oh, yes, what took you so long? We've been waiting. So Prefect Emil looks us over and has a little chuckle to himself. We don't know what that's all about. But he says, wait here. After a while, the prefect comes back, and he has someone who looks very formal with him. He's all in his robes, and he's got a very fancy and bright hat on his head, and we can tell just by looking at him, Aetbert and Willam can tell that he is from the other branch of the Church of St. Cuthbert. There's the chapeau, which we are a part of, and we have our floppy hats that look the same color as Crown Royal bags, that kind of like purplish, royal purple, royal blue, whatever they call it. And so we have floppy hats, and they're of the light, I think it is. The shining light, I want to say. I'll look up the details later and get into more detail about it, but just know that basically they're from an alternate faction, and their faction is focused on people doing right. They are the ones who are making sure that the rules are followed and that things are in the goodness of St. Cuthbert. So Prefect Emil introduces him as Patriarch Finney. His name is Eben Finney, but Patriarch Finney. These are the and he hesitates, not knowing what to call them. Aetbert says, "Acolytes. We're acolytes from Elfwine. I am Aetbert Cuthman," and he introduces Willam as well. He says, "Willam Pembroke. These are our entourage of friends, and helping us with this, Randall Windsor and Asher Winwood, Svaldi Mundai," he tips his head and holds his pointy hat in place, "and Jorbus Bicklemole, whom Father Calmert," man, I have such a hard time with his name, Father Calmert introduced us to and suggested we bring along on the journey. And Patriarch Finney remains silent and just kind of looks at them, and then he says, what's the other guy's name? Cannon Terjon can't send his best and brightest, eh? Kind of looks down his nose at him and then makes an insulting remark. Cannon Terjon is the one who is the real leader of the church. He's actually a very important person in the area, but we don't really pay much attention to all that stuff at this point, the characters. So anyway, Cannon Terjon can't send his best and brightest, and so kind of gives us a little insulting, tongue wagging. We don't really know how to react to this, but of course he's the leader. So Aetbert kind of just clears his throat and yes, well, we've come for the receptacle. Is it here? And with that, Patriarch Finney kind of motions with his hand to Prefect Emil, kind of in a do the necessary kind of motion, and he turns and starts to walk away. And Prefect Emil says, "Yes, we've been waiting for you. The cart is down at the Wainwright. We'll have the receptacle, the golden receptacle, loaded and ready for you in an hour. So, are you prepared to leave, or are there things that need to be done first?" And I don't think that the party really needs to do anything but resupply on food and water. We don't really need a lot of other things. We will be heartbroken that we won't really get to spend any time in town and look things over and have a good time, have some drinks. But hey, work is work, right? So no, we agree. We can be ready in an hour. And he mentioned the Wainwright, so we, bid him adieu, and Willam has the bright idea to interrupt towards the end. Prefect Amel, where can we buy some rations? We need some iron rations. Where do you recommend? And he says, don't worry about it. Make your usual tithe, and we'll have extra rations loaded onto the wagon for you. So it's like, oh, okay, sure. So we go for our 10% tithe. Everybody will, except for Jorvis Bicklemole, I guess. And we'll do that from, let's see. We had 50 gold. 50 gold from the ogre. So let's just take 5 of that. We'll take 5 gold from there. We haven't even split it up, but because nobody really has any money. Randall has 8 gold. Well, actually we have some money. Who's this? Asher has 15 gold left. Okay, we do have some gold. 4 gold. Svaldi has 1 gold. Jorvis has a lot of gold, but he's not sharing. He's the lone demi-human amongst these humans. He's not even really all that into humans, actually, but he's a good guy. He's just not paying anybody else's way. Okay, so what we're gonna do then is grumble about how we got away, or we didn't get away easy. We could have just gone and bought iron rations, but now we're stuck tithing more to making a donation to the church. So let's just say we each donate a gold piece out of our what we would get out of the 50 gold that we found on the ogre. So that'll be -6. I'll just kind of jot this here in the corner because I need this here divvied up for experience as well. Okay, so we'd put 6 gold pieces in the collection box and hope that he provides us with what we really need, because we just went on a trip that we thought was going to take us a few days and it took us 2 weeks to get there. So we start to head back down to the Cartwright here, and we need to go in and talk to this guy about maybe getting some horses or a cart and a mule. I mean, we still don't know what it is that we're going to end up using, so we head down to visit this guy, this merchant. And horses, I mean, we're going to have to feed these animals too, so I don't know that we're going to be able to do that. A cart is 50 gold pieces. No. We're not going to be able to do that. A wagon is 150 gold, so we can't buy them. I mean, maybe we could rent, make a deal with this guy to rent, say we're with the Church of St. Cuthbert, and get the prefect to vouch for us. You could buy a pony for 15 gold pieces. You could buy a mule for 20 gold pieces. No, I don't think we can afford it. I don't know about renting. That's something that I can't imagine yet, so I'm just going to say that the party doesn't... We're not considering coming back here to bring whatever it is back that we would be renting from them, so I don't know how we would get something without buying it. So that's what we're going to do. We go down there, we hang out for a while. We see a lot of scurrying going on for sure. A lot of scurrying between these two buildings. There's some kids running back and forth. You know, we see men working and things. And after a while, we see two two men in armor coming down the road, and they have coverings over their armor that look like the symbol that the patriarch was wearing. Kind of like a sunburst, I think it is. Starburst, kind of like pattern. Star pattern. And eventually, as the day wears on a bit, we get hungry enough that we just have to go over to the area over here, because we can hear it. We can hear that there's shops over here. You hear merchants hollering out things. And so that's what we do. After lunch, we make our way over to here. And we see out here that there's stalls. You know, there's like food stalls. Like, this is definitely a merchant district over here. And it's big. You know, like this whole area is merchants. And we can see on the backside here now more men milling around and everything. This is kind of like storage and warehousing over here, all of this area. There's crates and things back all in here, and this is looks like warehouse buildings. These are all buildings. And down here is more men milling around back here. This looks to me like this looks to us like a barracks. And we find a place to get something to eat. We see some small fried fish on a stick out in here. So we spend a couple copper pieces. Randall's a a good sort. He spends 2 silver pieces and gets everybody fried fish on a stick. And we all eat and hang out for a little while and have a good time, just looking over what we can see from the town. But pretty soon, Willam comes running around the corner and says, "Oh, they're here, they're here." And so we gather our stuff up and head back over. And we see Prefect Amel and the 2 men that we saw walking down the street earlier next to a cart. Mule-drawn, actually more like a wagon, a mule-drawn wagon. And the prefect says, "All right, you men know this is an important relic." Relic isn't really the right term. Plug in the adjective. This is a holy. This basin is a holy item and requires your constant attention. There's a in the back of this wagon. There's a locked chest, and that chest looks pretty fancy just in itself. The wood is high quality. It's not ornate or anything. It's just more of a basic chest. But the corners are brass, reinforced brass, and it's locked, of course, and the wood is highly stained and polished, and the 2 men, of course, react. They're like, without saying yes sir, they're kind of yes or no sir, kind of like clerics. And so and they don't have shields. They only have big like, it's like a cross between a cudgel and a mace. It's like a club with nodules on it, metal knobs on it. But more like a cudgel club, an enhanced club than it is an actual, medieval mace. And they get up into the back of the wagon, and they start to check everything out and make sure everything's tied down and good to go. And Prefect Amel turns to us and says, "I give this to you, expecting you to pray and jubilate in front of the carriage at all times. Beware of brigands on the road, and don't let it out of your sight. There's 2 weeks worth of rations for the party in the wagon. This should suffice to get you there." At that point, there isn't a whole lot else that he can convey to us about what to do, where to go, anything else to do. We're to pray and jubilate. We get the impression that he means like a procession kind of thing. And knowing the rituals of St. Cuthbert, we know that to be true. That there's praises and jubilations and songs and other things that go along with praying to St. Cuthbert. And this being a holy item, it will be important that we keep our chin up and keep praying. But before we go, Aetbert is going to say to the prefect, what news have you heard from the road? And we'll see if we can't get a rumor out of him. Also, I spent a little time, again, full transparency here, I spent a little time after that last stream that I did about the DM prep, putting together a rumor list that can, be wiped clean and added to and things. But these will be somewhat level appropriate, I think, and a 5% chance for the 20 of them. And we'll just keep rotating them in and out as we find things. But it doesn't look like we're going to get a whole lot of rumors. The way things are running, we may not get a whole lot of rumors out of this, and I might have to tweak it as we play test it some more, depending on how many rumors I think we need. Okay, so first off, this is a town, so it'll be the first time we roll 1 to 4 plus minus 1 instead of minus 2. And there are 2 rumors. And we roll the reaction table roll. Let's see, what does the prefect know? 65, that's good. We'll roll above 50%. 65. The prefect is hesitant to talk. He's like, I don't dwell in hearsay and rumors, he says. Let's get a charisma check. Charisma check for Aetbert. 12. Need to roll under a 12. And we do. 10. Good. So we get a plus 10 on this die roll. Gonna roll another reaction check with a plus 10 this time. 93. Wow, nice. Okay, yep. He offers up some information. Excellent. Okay. And I'm just going to say that he confirms what Asher Wildwood suspects. He confirms that we hear opposing forces are watching, and Asher comes forward and says, yes, we saw, he recounts the story of the ogre just as we left Elfwine and how it attacked us. Of course, ogres are chaotic evil, so there was no real anything but him attacking, really. He's large enough. It's not like he was really scared of the party like the orc was, a lone orc against 6 of us. He's only 1 hit dice as well, but the gnoll was 2 hit dice. He talks about the gnoll, how it was, in the middle of the night, and that lone gnoll was watching us, and he caught him that night. He was up at midnight. He says, yes, I know what you speak of. I want you to be careful. And we'll say that is the rumor that we get. The first rumor is that he confirms it. There are opposing forces, is the way he describes it. Let's just say what we think of as opposing forces is, evil evil religious forces versus the good religious forces that we're working for. So we don't really know any detail about what that is, and he doesn't offer it, but he confirms there's evil forces out there that are in opposition to us, that know about us, know what we're doing, or trying to stop it, something to that extent, and we'll let things flesh out from there. But there's another rumor as well, and so let's I haven't actually covered this. Can I ask for 2 rumors from the same person? I don't know. I could say as long as we just keep rolling and we get the chance to re-roll like we did there, we should be able to just keep talking to him. Let's just see how that works out. I don't see any reason why not to, because eventually we're going to fail and he's not going to talk to us anymore. And this doesn't have a specific location or anything. So, okay. So Asher asks him this time, so what else do you know? And 69. That one's a good one too. He's hesitant to talk. So we make another charisma check. This time, Asher Winwood. He has to roll below a 7. Oh, and he does. 7 or below. Awesome. Okay. All right. So, in this case, then, let us say that we roll from the rumor table instead. I'm glad I got this finished last night. Okay, so we rolled D100. $33. An elven or some race caravan is expected to arrive, carrying the finest blah 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 ever produced or the like. Well, I think here we're talking about mining type things, because we've got the forge and all that kind of stuff. So we'll say a dwarven caravan is expected to arrive, carrying the finest ore ever produced or ever mined in the area. The finest ore ever mined. Well, we don't really need any ore or anything, but I mean, it's good to know. We could try and touch base with them and see if it could make us some weapons or armor or something like that. I don't know. We can't afford to buy anything, so it doesn't make any sense yet. But this is the thing about, rumors and stuff, is they might not always be all that useful to us. Okay, so this one was done. I don't know, we could just keep doing this one over and over again and have it be something else next time. Maybe even roll in some of these things, because that's why I put them as like some race, because you could pick, or you could do what's relevant. In this case, I tried to match it to the town, but it could be something else. But the example that where it came from was the donjon stuff, and this is elven and meads and mulled wines. But I want it to be more generic, so maybe I should have a table to roll from out of the DM's guide for this one as well. But okay, anyway, so that's it. We got 2 rumors. One is cool because I think it gives me more opportunity to expand and develop some storyline maybe even with a nemesis. I think it helps this adventure also flesh itself out to have confirmed with that rumor from the prefect that definitely there are opposing forces who are against us, that know that we're out here and are watching us, spying on us. So we'll have to see who that is. Maybe next weekend's DM stream will be about fleshing that out. And so, friends, after having our talk with Prefect Emil Burns, the cleric of the Church of St. Cuthbert in Aratar, we turn ourselves around, get the mule and the two men. I'll come up with some names for them. Oh, there's two other men with us. Oh yeah, and what level? They're also going to be first level. They're going to be acolytes as well. Maybe they'll be second level, but I don't think it makes sense. He's 5th level. Maybe they should be better than us because they're doing more praying and stuff. So yeah, I guess I'll figure that out. But they need to be fleshed out, these two guys here that are with us in the cart. And so we've got a mule, a wagon, the two, whatever they are. Like I said, I'll come up with whether they're acolytes or they're something else. 2 armed men along with us, and 2 weeks worth of rations that were given to us. Really, we paid a lot for because we donated so much gold to the church. Didn't get a chance to talk to Tracker Gilgully that Asher knows. Didn't have that opportunity, a half-elf. But we know they're here now. This was a big step in driving things forward and having more people and reasons to visit and go places. So we head on out, turning ourselves around, and start to get back out on the road. Now, it's going to be already past quite a bit of the day by the time that we leave, and we would have had a morning, evening, and midnight encounter in the plains. Okay. And we basically leave the same way we came in. Right back out. Well, friends, that's where I'm going to leave it. I know it probably seems anticlimactic to have come to town and not even gone to the inn or anything like that, but, I mean, that's the way it just worked out, is to, we walked down the street, we saw the people, it was the right time of day, we walk in, and they're like, yeah, you got to get this thing back. It's a giant golden receptacle. So, chop chop, move it. So we're on our way back. We've met a few people. We had some fried fish on a stick. We had more rations, thankfully. And we're tired. We didn't get a good night's rest last night, so though we have to do another midnight encounter, who knows, this could be another day without rest. That's not completed yet. And while our water skins are full, we don't have the spell create water yet either. So we better hope that these guys who are with us can cast some decent spells as well. I'll cover that in another stream. Bye-bye.